welcome to Bag, this series where I am beating all Game Boy Advance games. Put down your guns and grab a chair. Today we are playing Doom, Ecks vs. Sever. Developed by Crawfish Interactive and released in 2001, Ecks vs. Sever is a game based off of a movie. And just like all of the other games, I did not know that until the editing of this video. Starting off, we get to choose whether we want to play as Ecks or Sever. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but apparently the person that you pick actually changes the story a little bit and also changes the way that some of the levels are played. In this video, we are going to be playing as Sever, which is apparently the harder of the two. Honestly, if I would have known that, I probably would have went with Ecks because wow, this game gets ridiculous. So this game is extremely story heavy and is sort of told to you in the future at like a court hearing, but then when you play, you're playing in the past. So I'm just going to try to summarize it real quick, but all of the dialogue is going to remain in the video, just sped up, so you can easily pause and read if you would like. The Sever is an orphan class NSA deep cover operator on trial looking to get reinstated as an NSA operative. She was purchased by the NSA, weaned on violence, and trained to kill in 1,000 different ways. The council asks if she knew anything about the Tomahawk cruise missile that hit a Pacific island, which Sever refused to comment on. She then goes on to say 4 weeks ago, Gant, a senior corporate in the NSA, broke a promise and says that we need to locate the room with a laptop and access X file. And let's just say the beginning of this game started off rough. Oh, these controls. Oh no. Oh, this is terrible. Oh god. Gotta rewire my damn brain to think of how this works. So the controls in this game by default are absolutely terrible by today's standards. I mean, honestly, they were terrible back then, but we've gotten so used to having dual sticks and stuff for looking and walking that they were just unusable. Luckily, I'm playing on an emulator, so I was able to rebind them to make them a little bit more usable, but it was still not really that great. So right off the bat, one thing that you might notice is, first of all, this is very, very Doom-like game, but also the graphics are kind of insane for a Game Boy Advance. I also really like the fact that you can explode these barrels and they actually have a full animation as well as they harm the enemies if they're standing nearby. This first level is pretty easy. You just make your way through. You mostly just fight these guys that I like to call Paul Blart. And it's not really that big of a struggle. Although the biggest struggle for me was trying to realize how to open this door, which you just go up to it and you press B. But there are a lot of doors like this in the game and they do not make it obvious that you can open them or not. So it's a bunch of just trial and error. So one thing about this game is every enemy seems to have predetermined drops. So if you die and replay this level, the same person that you kill each time will, for example, drop a health pack or certain ammos or certain guns. There seems to be a few times where this rule doesn't apply, but in general, that's kind of how it works out. I found this little hole in the wall, but I could not figure out how to duck to actually get into the wall. I pressed every button combination that I could think of and I just could not crouch. And since you can't jump in this game will do some creative ways to make sort of stairs without just making stairs. So in this situation, it was a bunch of crates and boxes stacked up. I also feel like there's a lot of time and effort that went into this game. Like here, there are spinning chairs when you hit them with bullets. Dude, they even have like the chairs rotating. That's cool. And even all the static monitors that are on the back wall. It's really cool. That's really cool. I just said that. And after clearing out these enemies, we pick up the laptop and that finishes the level. This game also uses the password system instead of file saves, which I think is funny later. The court then asks Sever to describe Ecks, which then she goes on to say that he is a deep cover operative in the FBI, tough upbringing, has degrees in Crim and Psych from Harvard at 18, PhD in Crim/Law from Columbia at 21, joined Bureau and got a rapid promotion to SWAT. He was awarded 3 special citations in 3 years for uncommon valor and solved 4 unsolvable crimes in his first year after being assigned to Elite Forensic Psych and then assigned to Deep Cover. Ecks then took 3 years to grieve for his wife and son who were murdered by a terrorist car bomb intended for him. Eventually spent 6 months in Bethesda Psych for clinical depression and then quit and took early retirement. And 4 weeks ago, he suddenly re-emerged. The next mission requires planting a bomb in a warehouse and escaping within 3 minutes. I told you guys, this game is super story heavy. The next level begins with me having to crouch to even proceed, which took me over a minute to figure out how. Turns out you have to press L and R at the exact same time to be able to crouch. This is also where you can see that certain enemies will drop certain weapons, but they have no indicator that they're going to drop anything until after you've killed them. There are also some times where you can sneak up on enemies like this. This guy doesn't know I'm behind him, but then other times they will know that you're coming and start to look at you. I don't know what the deciding factor is with that, but yeah, sometimes it can be used to your advantage and other times you just get straight blindsided. So to access the warehouse, you actually have to go down this elevator, but there's not really that much of an indicator that it's an elevator, and there's no like clear button to press on the wall, but eventually if you go up to the wall and just press B, it will allow you to go down. This level also introduces the stronger guys in camo that take a few more bullets or stronger guns to kill. I also failed the mission here and have to start all over from the beginning. And here's an example of the guy now for some reason knowing that we're behind him, where before he didn't know that. Eventually I get back to where I was, round this corner, take out these few guys, and then wouldn't you know it, this is the end of the level. Unfortunately, this is way too common in this game where I die just before the end of the level. Sever then goes on to say that Mills arrived after the warehouse blew up and was flanked by FBI units and patrol cars. Sever says she was ambushed by FBI and SWATs while Ecks was trying to take her out with a sniper rifle. They barricaded all escape routes, but they overlooked one alley. In this mission, we need to locate the encrypted Disk 1 containing clues about the NSA's ulterior motives, as well as finding Mills and killing him, and then escaping out the alley. This next mission starts off pretty easy, where we're just going through this like house thing. I don't know really what it's supposed to be because it's also not a warehouse, but either way, there's just a bunch of Paul Blarts to kill and it's not that bad, which gave me confidence. And then I said this dumb shit. I feel like this game potentially might not be that hard, that the controls, especially on the original Game Boy, since you, oh, he's gonna come around and open the door, were so bad and you couldn't remind them, which increased the difficulty of this game already like crazy. But since I rebound them, so I might just breeze through this shit. Yeah, that never happens. This game gets ridiculously hard. Eventually, after making your way through this building and killing a bunch of Paul Blarts, you get to the end where you're faced with Mills. He actually takes quite a bit of hits to kill, but I was lucky with my grenades and landed near him a couple times. He dropped the encrypted Disk 1, which I pick up, and then you get to the exit. Continuing on, Council asks Sever why Ecks embarked on the missions, to which Sever replies that she didn't know, and perhaps Ecks felt responsible for his family's deaths, and that he was just trying to join them by dying in the only way that he knew how. We then listen to footage filmed during Mission 4, which says shots fired and casualties near Viper Lounge, to which dispatcher confirms FBI, SWAT, and all the heavy brigade are on their way. The patrolman says Suspect 1 is pursuing Suspect 2, both firing serious military hardware, approaching Viper Lounge and shooting down uniformed officers. This next mission starts off immediately with us getting our ass kicked by this other person, which is when we realize that we are Suspect 1 and we are being gunned down and chased by Ecks. This mission is extremely hard because there's not much that you can do, so I just decided to try running. I was also trying to sway left and right to see if like I could dodge their bullets. I don't really know if this helped or not, but it really didn't matter because eventually I turned this corner and was faced with this guy with a whole bunch of armor on. I then felt like I did pretty good, so I attempted to just run for it again, but that really didn't work out. I know there's a guy out here, but I'm gonna... Wait, no! This game is going to... If I have to try to kill every single person, this game is going to be impossible. I gotta take my sweater off. It is so... It got 13 million degrees in here all of a sudden. So it turns out this game requires a bit more strategy than you would think. So you don't actually have time to kill every single person because Ecks is chasing you. What the f*** is that? What the f***? Oh, he's following me. But you also don't have the ability to just run through the whole level. Remember earlier when I said that each character drops a predefined thing? Well, yeah, you basically have to go through the level, kill everyone slowly, figure out what everyone drops, remember that for next time, and then don't kill the pointless ones, kill the ones that drop the things that you need to get farther in this level. Yeah, it's kind of a nightmare. That's the thing, I need to save this gun for those juggernaut looking ass guys. Oh yeah, and that's another thing too. When you get weapons, you have to save them because you need them for the stronger enemies, and ammo is extremely limited in this game. Oh shit, this is done. This is the only gun I have. Like, there's not a world where I get this guy. Oh, I got him. Well, except this world. When I got closer to the end, I really did not have any ammo to kill these guys, so I just ran. And we beat the mission. Suffer. Yep, that makes sense. Next, Council talks about our history, how we were an NSA agent who always achieved our objectives. Not long ago, we met a man, got married, and settled in our husband's home village on a Pacific island. Gant, NSA boss, persuaded us to come back for one final job. In return, we would earn an early retirement. While we traveled back, something happened, and we wanted revenge because Gant broke his word. Ecks chased us to the Viper Lounge where we were looking for supplies and encrypted Disk 2. Suddenly, SWAT appeared from nowhere, we killed them all and located Disk 2, then Ecks arrived. I also took a small break, so when I came back, I had to type in the word suffer, which just feels poetic. So starting off in the bar, I decide to do my tried and true, and that is to just rush it. Because I have a pistol and there's SWAT coming from every direction, I figured I cannot take these on, I just gotta run. Also, side note, I really like how the ceiling fans are animated and they're spinning. Like I said, the graphics are just super good in this game. So as it turns out, this level has a ridiculous amount of enemies and rushing it is just simply not possible. Well, it's actually not possible to rush it for a couple reasons, but at this time, I didn't know that. Like, obviously I'm not supposed to rush it, but what am I supposed to do? I don't think I actually have to take out the SWAT teams. So yeah, you know where it says objectives, take out the SWAT teams? Yeah, I actually do have to take out the SWAT teams. I don't remember how to open doors. I thought it was B. That's not working. So you do have to go through that door, except this level makes it so you have to complete an objective before that door will open. But it also doesn't make it clear that that's how it works. So this is where the game takes a huge turn in difficulty. So you have to go behind the bar, kill the cop, get this gun, go down to the basement, there's more guns, health packs, ammo down there, and then slowly pick off the SWAT team while you move through the level. You also notice this white door here is currently closed. Well, that becomes open later on. Outside in this warehouse, there's this garage door that's only half open, and you can pick them off with your pistol, and it's useful to listen to the sounds of when they die. It's a great way to save some ammo because it is a very precious resource in this game. It's also just a good way to know if you're hitting someone because it is legitimately a pixel. Sometimes it's not even a pixel. You can't even tell someone's there. I genuinely could not imagine playing this on the actual Game Boy Advance because holy crap. There's also this alleyway outside that has this dead end, and there are these vents that you can shoot out, which brings you into this bathroom, which ends up being the thing on the other side of that white door. Also, another thing you'll notice is that for some reason the SWAT teams are back again. Eventually we round the corner and we realize that the door that was closed earlier is now open and accessible. Directly on the other side of that open door is a guy who is carrying the encrypted Disk 2. But be careful rounding this last corner because there's a sneaky little guy there with a gun ready to make your brain mashed potatoes. And after taking him out, we're able to go through this door, which is the end of the mission. Sever then talks about finding Ecks and killing him, but noting that his weaponry was superior and his reflexes were sharp. When she had him down to 33% health, he escapes and drops a matchbook. In this next mission, we need to locate Ecks and attempt to bring him down. This next mission starts off with you immediately having a gun pointed at your head and you have to do something about it. Also, when you round the first corner, there's also a guy standing behind a counter aiming directly for your head. This level definitely starts off really strong. I then had a bumpy brain moment and decided if I started the level and immediately crouched, I should be good, right? Then I peeked around this corner and I saw that the guy was still looking forward. Then I realized that this game's pretty easy. You just have to, use your brain once in a while. And then of course I died, so then I had to start over again. But honestly, doesn't really matter. We have this first level down pat. Crouch, go around the corner, and oh my god, he's looking at us. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, immediate crouch, go around this corner, and holy shit, he's coming for us. Yeah, that's when I realized this game just has a mind of its own. There's no predictability to it. So we slowly move our way through the level. Hey, get your shoes off the table. Okay, now not only is there dirt, now there's blood on it. Thank you. We eventually make our way into this dining hall looking thing, and on stage is Ecks, who is shooting, and I want to apologize for this. I'm not American, so I didn't take ABCs of guns or anything like that, but what looks to be a grenade launcher. I then pull out my gun, which is a faster shooting one. I don't know my guns. And just like the transcript says, once you get him down to about 33% health, he runs away like a little bitch. You then go through the world's most poorly designed hallway and then end up in this other room full of people with guns. I also didn't notice that this guy was here, and then I decided to throw some grenades and they just were not hitting him for some reason. The grenade throwing in this game is horrible. I then had to keep shooting Ecks through this window because I didn't really have any other guns that would go long range. He still has a grenade launcher and almost kills me, but luckily I eventually pick him off and then he drops a matchbook, which turns out the matchbook Ecks dropped has instructions on it. We then enter a hotel that NSA were using as a weapons store. We need to find the encrypted disk 3, activate the lift switches, and locate the keys to the weapons storage lockups. This next level starts off in the dark, and I think it's kind of funny that even though it's dark, the NPCs can still see me and shoot without an issue. Rounding this first corner, there are 2 people at the end of this hallway who are actually guarding the lift switches. The one guy also drops this. Oh shit! That's cool! Oh, there's the switches. Yo! Yo, that's sweet! I don't know why, but these thermal goggles really impressed me. I also really like that it shows the heat from your bullets when you shoot a gun and you're wearing these. But unfortunately, they don't last that long. Oh, it only lasts for a little. Man, they need better battery technology. So in this main room that you start in, there are 4 elevators, and 2 of the elevator switches that you have to activate are behind the guy with the first thermal goggles. So you have the choice to take either of the elevators up, and you have to start clearing the floors. Eventually you end up in one of these bathrooms where you have to kill this guy on the left because he drops door key 1. And then you make your way through this shower vent. Then after reaching the end of the shower tunnel, you are back on the main floor where you can take the other elevator that you didn't take previously. This next floor is actually really easy. There's just one guy staying in the hallway. After killing him, there's a room with another Paul Blart. After killing him, there's one more room left, which is this bathroom that has a couple guys in it, and another vent to outside. After going through the vent outside, there are 2 guys that you have to kill, and one of them drops door key 2. There's also this vent that leads you back inside, and you can use the door key 2 to open up the weapon storage. Inside the weapon storage, there is a switch for lift 1 as well as turning on the power again. After making your way back to the elevators, you can see one of them is now open, and upon exiting the elevator, there is a guy who is immediately trying to kill you. In one of the rooms, there is a shower that has a vent, and if you look at the bottom left corner at the time that it's been taking me, I played this level for an hour. So I know for a fact that you don't have to go through that vent, because if you do, there are people on the other side that are trying to kill you and you gain nothing from it. In this one room, there are these 2 heavily guarded guys. Killing them will give you door key 3 as well as a minigun. Across from where you just came, there's this other room. You have to kill this guy, and then inside this room, there is the encrypted disk, but also this door. If you open it, it unlocks the lift 1. After making your way back through the floor, you go back down the elevator you came up in, and then you're ambushed by a bunch of guys with guns. I actually ended up getting to this part 5 times and died each freaking time. But eventually I got it, and we completed this mission. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, seething. For mission 8, the NSA got wind of our whereabouts and we have to activate the lift switches and escape the hotel. So this is another one of those levels where you have to go fast because there is someone on your tail, and if you go too slow, they are going to kill you. So you can see here, I took a little bit too long and they are on my tail. I found the lift 1 switch down this hallway and I continued on until I found where the lifts were located. So at this point, I was just panicking and rushing, so I just went to the elevator on the right and decided to go up. Where am I going? I'm trying to go off the edge. Why can't I go off the edge? Okay. Huh? I can't go down. Wait, did I make a wrong decision? Oh. Or what do I do? Shit, I didn't mean to do that. There's nothing. Okay, there's literally nothing up here for me. So yeah. After clearly making the wrong decision, I decided to do the same thing, except take the elevator on the left this time. And it doesn't work. I then wandered around for a while, but this level just kind of loops in a circle, so I decided to look up a walkthrough, and this is what happened. Look at that. I can jump off now. It literally just glitched before, and then the ending's right here. Yeah, so I guess I went the right way the first time. The game just glitched and didn't let me drop down. I literally did that the first time, it was just glitched. After we escape, we head to the NSA HQ where we have to find the bunker passkey and encrypted disk 4. Each of these levels are becoming longer and longer, and the problem is, unless you know what's on the other side of the doors or you're prepared for it, you're almost guaranteed to get instantly shot and instantly killed. Because obviously AI in a lot of the older games are not as smart, so they can pretty much aimbot you straight through the walls without you even knowing what's on the other side. So because of this, I decided to start using the World of Long Plays walkthrough so I can anticipate what was on the other side of doors and not have to die so many times. Okay, I'm gonna give it another shot. The sad part is, where I've gotten in 3 hours and 30 minutes, they've gotten in 43 minutes. I've never claimed to be a good gamer. But good thing that we did look at this walkthrough, because when you first start this level, there's this little secret door behind you that has this really good gun that I would have never known about. Also, thanks to the walkthrough, I learned that if you aim between 2 cops with this type of gun, you can kill both of them in one shot. But I think it really only works on these like Paul Blart security guards. But for some reason, one of them has this sniper rifle, and you pick it up and you use it by killing the security guards on the other side of this hallway. Just a side note, the sniper rifle is extremely difficult to use and super awkward. Going back in the tunnel, there's these like bunker area that has this one guy that's pretty strong, but now that we have the sniper, we can use it to take him out easily. We then find this room that surprisingly has nobody in it, except it has the door key 1. So here's a good example of people that are just staring down a door ready to kill you as soon as you open it. If you come through this back door, you can kind of sneak around these guys, but you can see that they're aiming directly towards a door that you could walk through. After going through that door, you are met with this hallway with a million other doors off the sides. You can see here another perfect example of someone waiting to kill you as soon as you open the door. Luckily, I looked at the walkthrough, so I knew that guy was coming. And same goes for this guy. I also found these proximity mines, which I'm sure are super helpful. I just never used them because I didn't want to die and have to start all the way from the beginning, even though they probably would have made my life so much easier if I even knew how they worked. Then there's also this door that has not only one guy waiting to kill you, but 3. And for some reason, the walkthrough actually only had 2 guys in here, not 3. So I was in for a little bit of a surprise, but luckily I did not die. Oh yeah, and some of these guys apparently just take 362 shots from a shotgun to kill. So that's nice. One thing I kind of like about this game is that there are elevators that you sometimes have to press a button to call them. And here I thought something was wrong, so I was looking around trying to figure out what to do when I realized I just had to wait. I had to call the elevator and wait for it to get to my floor. On the next floor, however, I had to use the sniper rifle and try to get these guys that are around the front desk, I guess. And the problem with the sniper rifle is it is so hard to use, and once you're in the sniper rifle view, you can't move. This led to a few really close calls and almost dying. Eventually, after picking them all off, I killed Paul Blart, and he was holding a freaking minigun for some reason. I then killed these people in the elevator across from the front desk, and they took so many hits to kill, I have no idea why. I then went back to Paul Blart's desk and grabbed the encrypted disk 4. I then rode another elevator and did what I do best. Look the wrong direction, and almost freaking die. After making it through a couple of these doors that have a guy immediately standing behind it, I entered this room that has a bunch of doors off of it. After picking a random door and entering the room with the nice purple carpet, and then going around the corner, we can see that there is a door key 3 just sitting at one of these desks. Making our way out of the purple carpet room, we can actually see that one of these doors is just randomly open now, and you are ambushed by 3 guys. This is what I mean about this game, just throwing these random things at you and causing you to die and have to start all the way over from the beginning. I actually almost die here. Luckily, I'm able to get this health and then continue on. This is a fun one. So I throw this grenade at this guy, move away to get out of this explosion, come back, and he's right there. This right here is also a really good showcase on how glitchy that these grenades are in this game. I'm going to fast forward so you can see this whole thing, but I never ended up being able to kill these guys, so I just left. We then have to go back down the elevator to behind Paul Blart's desk and enter this room that we now have the key for. In this room, there are a lot of agents that we have to slowly and carefully pick off. And then there are a bunch of agents in front of all these TVs, so I decided to throw a couple of grenades to see if I could get lucky, and I actually do. Behind the monitors is this door, and then there's this elevator that you take down. And once you're done your elevator ride, you enter another door, and the mission is over. Oh, and this is when I learned this. Oh my god, great. Someone in the comments said, Sever's levels are harder than Ecks for some reason. In Mission 10, we need to locate the mainframe terminal in the basement bunker of the NSA HQ to access the 4 encrypted disks. Ecks is in the terminal room with grenades and a minigun. We take him out and he tells us what he knows. You know it's going to be a good mission when it starts us off with a sniper rifle. After grabbing the sniper rifle, we take out these 2 guards who are immediately on the other side of the door. And then after we open the door that they were looking at, well, you guessed it, there's a guard we have to take out who is immediately on the other side of that door. Eventually we come to this room that has these 2 guys in it, and one of them is carrying the door key 1. We then come out to this room with these 2 guys standing in there that are not paying attention. You would think the fact that they're looking at about 13,000 monitors that they would have seen us coming, but I guess not. We then go into this vent and kill the 2 guys on the other side. We then lob about 14 grenades down this room, and these guys just simply won't die. We then decide to take the stairs and finish him off with the gun. And then he also drops a minigun, which is pretty cool. And then this must be the worst door of the entire game. You open it up, there are 3 guys, but not only do they shoot at you, they chase you. Eventually you find this beautiful yellow room with these guys that seem like they are pretty much invincible. And then there is this vent behind them and we enter it. On the other side of the vent is the server room where Ecks is located. Now luckily, if you use the minigun and you shoot him and you kinda are near the wall, he'll get stuck in this hurt animation and it makes it really easy to hit him without actually taking any damage. When he finally dies, it just immediately cuts to a mission complete, which is really weird. And at first I thought it said something about me dying and I got really scared. This is when Ecks tells us what he knows. He says agents are coming, he's leaving, and we've earned each other's respect. He gives us deciphering keys and says they'll tell us the truth and that we aren't on a good guys mission for the NSA. He then goes on to say that we are both set up in pawns in a power struggle between the FBI and NSA for dominance in covert ops. They select their best agents and pit them against each other, and the winner's agency becomes top dog. Since both Ecks and Sever were evenly matched every time they met, it spooked their agencies, so they combined forces to oppose them. Ecks then continues by telling us Gant is hungry for power and created the FBI-NSA rivalry. Ecks confirms that a cruise missile Gant authorized hit our husband's home village, and the target was an arms dump which our husband's father was the arms baron of. Ecks then tells us Gant is in the warehouse. This next mission is really hard. It starts off with a guy immediately running and coming towards you. Eventually you find the door to the warehouse and you have to crouch to get through, but of course there's guys all around. A large part of this level is weaving in and out of all these shipping containers and killing everyone that pops up. Eventually you go outside of the warehouse to this alleyway that has these yellow dumpsters, and then behind one of these yellow dumpsters is this tunnel that you can go into. On the other side of the tunnel is essentially just death, so I just really quickly speed ran this and ended up going up these stairs. After clearing up this room, there is a vent to the right that we can go through that takes us to a warehouse with even more shipping containers. After clearing out what felt like a million more guys around every corner, we get to this alleyway, which at the end of the alleyway is a guy that has a minigun. Going back down the alleyway we came from, there are boxes to get into this other warehouse, and there's a guy in here with a grenade launcher that just immediately F's us up. After killing the guys around every corner again, we enter this alleyway with this open door. It's funny because I crouch underneath here and then I pause to check the walkthrough because I don't want to enter this building and then immediately die. And then that's when I realized that, well, you'll see. Yeah, I was about 1 pixel away from just triggering the mission complete screen. Sever then goes on to describe mission 12, the last mission in this game. She states that Gant was standing on a ledge above her, firing RPGs and spraying automatic fire with his M16, laughing, while waves of NSA agents were filtering in at ground level. So this last mission is essentially a big boss fight, and it's set up in a really unique way, but also really boring. So the first room that you can enter is full of Paul Blarts, and they just drop basic weapons. You can then continue on and get to the second room, which is full of the armier type guys. I don't really know what they're called, and they have a little bit better weapons. You can then continue on even farther and get to a third room that is filled with even stronger guys that have even better weapons. The thing is, this level is just an infinite wave of enemies that come through these doors, so if you find yourself in the third room, you are way more susceptible to actually getting killed, which really sucks. Also, the way that the hallways are designed, getting to the third room, you are way more open to taking damage. So because of this, I just decided to stay in the Paul Blart area and keep replenishing my ammo from them. I knew that it was going to take longer to finish this level, but I also knew that it would take even longer if I decided to push it, go to the third room, die, and have to start all over again. So I decided slow and steady is the best way to win this race. So the point of this level is to gather weapons by killing the people on the outside and then go into the center where Gant is in, well, it said this ledge, but it looks way more like a wrestling ring to me. You also have to be extremely careful when you come here because if you take a wrong turn, you're exposing yourself to those other rooms and those people can just immediately take you out. Either way, this is Gant in the center of the level, and for some reason the FPS drops to about 1 FPS while you're in this area. It is a freaking nightmare to try to hit him. So just for the fun of it, I'm going to speed it up so you can see the entire fight. It is pretty much just go kill Paul Blart, replenish my guns, come back out here, try to kill him at 1 FPS, rinse and repeat. And after what felt like a century, we finally defeat Gant. In the final transcript, the judge says new evidence was found in Gant's office that authenticates everything we told them. We are reinstated as an NSA agent with enhanced rank and allowed to retire if we wish to be with our husband. We correct the judge and tell him that our husband was killed by a cruise missile, to which the judge continues by saying our husband is waiting for us and he's alive. Special forces plucked him from the village minutes before the Tomahawk impacted. We needed to think he was dead or our husband would have been targeted. And then it ends with the line, somehow I don't think we've seen the last of Agent Ecks. And then the credits roll. So now it's time for the rating. My enjoyability was a 4 out of 10 because the later levels become so confusing and the fact that it's just trial and error and having to replay them over and over and over again to memorize where every enemy is so that you can go through the level and not die gets really boring. But I also do think that there was enough variety between the levels that made the game a little bit interesting. I especially really liked that one level that has the heat vision goggles, or I guess the night vision goggles. I thought that was really cool. And the controls are just plain bad. I don't think that if I was able to rebind them, that this game would have even been playable. And for that reason, they get a 1 out of 10. Okay, so the graphics, I think they are some of the best that are even possible on the Game Boy. The fact that they are like pseudo 3D, there's a lot of detail like the spinning chairs and the spinning fans. It felt like almost every wall in a lot of the levels had a unique texture, so it wasn't like you walked into a box that was just the same 4 texture on each side. They also had the cool graphics like the TVs that had static on them, and I think overall they just did an incredible job on the graphics for the Game Boy Advance. The sound effects are also pretty good. Each gun, for example, has a unique sound effect, and I feel like they definitely fit the game pretty well, so I give it a 7 out of 10. And for music, it gets a straight 0 out of 10 because it just doesn't exist. The only time that there is music is when you're in the menus. Even then, the music in the menu is just horrible. I have no idea why this game has absolutely no music anywhere in the game. Maybe it's some sort of technical limitation, but either way, it gets a 0 for just not having any. And that brings it to an average rating of 4.4 out of 10. At this point, you're probably wondering, hey, where's the wheel spin? What's the next game? So a new rule that I created is that every time I beat 10 games, the next game after that, I get to pick myself what game I want to play. And I have decided to play Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town.